You can see me here. Hi, Sally on Instagram. And this is Simone Claridge here. And today it's a little bit messy this morning. And I just get my notes here all lined up because I think it's really important also to realize how changes you want to make, how they actually are effective and how they stay effective, and so that you have a long-term result. That's the theme for today. So yesterday I haven't been live, as you may have recognized. We had a road trip to take. So I hope we can make it up maybe on Friday. We'll find out, right? So, but just for today, so a lot of things nowadays are going on, a lot of changes in our social structures, and a lot of changes. Hello, nice to see you. A lot of changes in not just our social life. It's really affecting the way how we are feeling about ourselves quite often. And I mean, it's really important to recognize that if you want to make a change, about what do you want to make a change. So if you are finding yourself on the so-called bad hair days, so you're waking up in the morning and you're not feeling like your full capacity, you're not liking the day at all, you're coming already in with a really, I would say, an hangover, so to speak, and it's like really getting difficult, and if that continues, of course, to keep moving, to to find the good things in life, so to speak. So that can really end up in a down spiral. And if you're really watching the whole thing, then that actually can express itself not just in you're not feeling great about yourself. It actually continues that you pick up in your mind, and is quite often unconsciously, more of those mind garbage, so to speak, more of those thoughts. They are not helping you at all in this moment. And next thing you know, you pick up a fight with your friend, or you are yelling at your child, or you find yourself in positions where if you would be relaxed and had 14 days of vacation on an island and felt really relaxed and cool, that you wouldn't do that. So I think this is something of real importance, because most people try to make changes to say to their circumstances, to their environment, and that works to a degree, but this doesn't really, it doesn't give you the tools in your hand that you feel empowered, that you make conscious choices, knowing when you apply that, it will work. And it's more often what I see, what I also have seen in my own life, in my personal experiences, and in other people, in clients, that they feel more victimized to the circumstances. And then, in the most case, from the circumstances or the environment, there's not often, not a lot you can do at this moment. But doesn't mean you don't have tools or abilities to make effective changes. And that is where my heart is going, because we all are finding ourselves in situations. Again, you get up in the morning, as this example, and not feeling great, and then you continue to have more events over your day that confirm that wasn't the best hair day. Well, Well, we want to become more alert to the fact that even that is something you have a handle on. And so the very first thing that you, can do in those situations, first, you catch it. You catch that you have a bad hair day. So you're not liking it. So you're just realizing, oh, it's not my day. Totally cool. Then second, I would say, after you recognize the situation, you are also allowing yourself to have it. So why am I saying that? Well, you probably say, hey, Simona, that's not cool. If I'm not feeling great, I don't want to accept it. I want to fix it, right? So, well, how long have you been trying that? Honestly, how long, how many years have you been trying to fixing something that you don't have even, often feel like you don't have a grip on, or you don't have the power over? So it's not working. Right? So there are, in life, as we all know, there's so much interwoven layers to things that we often feel as if we would have, in the situation, zero power, which is absolutely not true. But to find where you do have the power, that is more the challenge. So yes, if if your boss is directing you coming into the office, and then you have to listen to the results of your work that the boss is complaining about, then at this moment, this is not something you can change because your boss is taking action. But you can accept, and you can allow yourself to take it in and take it through. So after you, recognize it, the second could be, and I'm not saying it's always the case, you accept that this is in this moment happening. I'm not saying you should accept the content what is talked to you, but you can accept, because in reality, your boss is talking to you and criticizing you maybe on your work. So in reality, it's happened. So nothing you can change on that, and it's not even required in order to make an effective change. So, but what would be probably more effective then is to ask yourself, now, after you accepted that this happened, and you allow yourself to have whatever the feelings are, you just allow it, nothing to do on it, and then you come to a point of where you can ask yourself, so what caused all that? And as soon as you are coming more in that, it's more kind of a detective position, a neutral place, where the emotions are subsiding a little bit, because now asking that question puts you also in gears of finding what has committed to, admitted to, contribute to the situation that you found yourself a minute ago being kind of ridiculed by your boss's assumption. So you do have then the ability to check the facts that have led to that position, and only if it's worth. If you realize yourself, if you realize that maybe your boss has a bad hair day and it just needs to move and go through, then that's something that is out of your reach, because not your feelings, it is not your bad hair day, and you can keep centered in this moment as you go with it. And often when a person stays very calm and centered in those moments, even the boss might have and more ease and might change. I'm not saying it will, but those situations in life, they happen. And clearly, if that would continue, that the boss can't, I say, get better hair days, then there would be time probably for you to take action, because you always can do something. This means you would consider to questioning if that's the right workspace you want to be in, right? So even though that will cause you to probably get emotional about that, because you might get anxiety or worries coming up for you, but honestly, if you can recognize that, accept that this is happening, and take action in the direction of what is going on, what's caused that, you're definitely in the right direction. So when you are in this direction, you're immediately off from being a victim. You're going into the state of activity, observing. So you're going in what's going on, so you're not more so identified with the issue itself, you're more identified with what is going on. So it's like you're zooming out a little bit further. So, and then you probably need to just make more notes, can be mental notes, can be mapped out somehow, but you need to make some notes in any way that works best. I do think it's important to write things down. Sticky notes are cool. I have a big board here, so it's cool. You write the notes out and just throw them on the board and make them order afterwards. But you're finding that there are certain layers that problems might occur. They are not on all layers, maybe, or you didn't catch them on all layers. So what I'm saying with all layers is that when you really observe the whole thing, and you can do this, by the way, also in a meditative way or a contemplative way, you sit after the situation has happened and you trace back and you bring back in your mind the situation and you look, okay, what was going on? What did I do? What really happened? I mean, you need to be really clear what really happened. And then what was the contribution of all people they are involved in the project, so to speak, that led up to having the conversation in the office with your boss, as an example. So when you understand that there are thoughts and beliefs always going with, then on that level, that's the most effective level, by the way, because of when you have a thought of that is good or this is not good, you're already starting to identify in certain directions. So if something is good, then it's okay for you, a check mark for you, and it's not stressful. If something is not so okay for you, then you will have more stressful physical sensation as well as feelings. They are making you feel in a certain way. Those are all cool. It's nothing it's nothing unhealthy at this point, because we are challenged over the day to adjust to everyone that surrounds you, to their way of living and seeing things, and that might be a challenge. As long as it's a challenge, it's no problem. It's only when it becomes a long-standing issue, and that may reflect itself now in the relationship to certain people. So if you are the project leader in your company, and you had this conversation with your boss, and your boss was criticizing, then your job is on top of it, and to realize what was the situation of the boss, right? So also to realize what are the relationships that are working and what are the relationships that are not working. That sounds like a lot of work to do, but here's the thing. If you do not become more alert to, then I mean, it keeps going. So we want to find the causing factors, so to speak, and it sets you at the same time in the mode of activity, empowered activity, that you can do something. So now, suppose you have ruled out that it was a bad hair day for your boss, it was just a bad hair day for you, maybe, and say yesterday, right? So things didn't come together as they should because two of your co-workers or your team members have been not working as they wanted and should have probably put their work together. So you start to layer that a little bit more. You start to see where the differences between the feeling state and the thinking state is. You start to see how clear people can stay in their mind, or how much this is infiltrated by emotional states. And that becomes all, as I know, it can become very complicated. Again, if you don't, you will not have the ability to find what's going on in you, and what can you handle and what you don't want to handle anymore. So all these kind of moving along and friction with each other help us in the long run to determine, to set clear boundaries, so to speak, which is not a wall. A boundary is a like. I like this, but I don't like that. And it's clearly expressing that this is okay for me, this is not okay for me. And saying it, being active on it. So you become more active, saying, well, I really hear you. I can respect that you have that. It's not me. I can't. I don't. I wouldn't like that. So that would be a really important step in order to become more clear what everyone is going for. I know our social structures are often not allowing those clear statements. So we often have to find ways around in order to be true to ourselves. But in the long run, again, if you do not stay true to yourself, the long run is that you have more emotions going on. They are internalizing that pressure, and it's not solving it. And that is draining for your system, because you will take more attention and more energy into the direction that is not solving. It's not solving for you. And so therefore, you are directing a lot of energy into a place that's actually not healthy. And that's not what we want. So clear boundary setting is a result of realizing that there are things you are very clear about, and maybe you have just more, how I say, a need to learn how to express that properly. This might not come across in the beginning, so I say, so social accepted. I understand that. So, but if you are finding yourself coming to this point that you have for a very long time not said what's true to you, it's probably coming out a little bit choppy. It's a little bit bumpy, so to speak. So then at the same time, you will have more compassion and understanding if this happened to your coworker as well, or to your boss, because now you experienced it yourself as well, and it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good when we have to position ourselves and have to somehow, I mean, say, hey, I don't want that, and in a way that might be, you know, a little bit harsh. But on the other side, if the other person hasn't heard you and doesn't listen, so somewhere there needs to be a mutual agreement. And what I have been finding is that what helps a lot is that if we find ourselves over and over again in relationships that are not caring about if you are also in a win situation, or you are not caring about if the other is in a win situation together with you, those relationships are not really of, how I say, great support. It's not healthy. And as I said, I know that a lot of people going to work have to deal with that quite often. So our social structures are actually sick. And this is a long-term thing, so believe me. So we are not able, because it's, I mean, everyone is doing it, we are not able to fix our own problems and not affecting then the other. So I highly, highly, highly recommend that you take yourself a little bit up and I mean, give yourself permission to find ways, while you can't make the changes to all structures and interwoven layers, like they all glued together, while we are all learning to come out of that, but you can do a better structure that works for you. Dealing with those daily things, they are unavoidable. You cannot escape those things. You cannot escape a child that's crying all day long, as an example. You know, you will get on some moment emotional, probably. But that's what life is. I'm not asking you to not be emotional, because it's not obviously a program that is built in us, because we have survival instinct as everyone else, as all animals, as all plants. So anything that's alive has survival mechanism built in. So we are not able to wean them off. So it's normal that when we come to a point we are challenged, that we are challenged, and you will see it. But what you can do is to first recognize it, accept it, that this happened right now, and to come back to your center as fast as possible in the way that is the most accustomed to you. And for that, you do want to have practices that help you to, I said, the energy that you may have lost to bring back, because without energy, without chi, I have to say, it's a little bit different, right? It's your life force energy. Without this life force energy, all what is supporting life is starting to not flow, it's dimming, right? So then you have somewhere blocks. Things get out of balance. Things get out of harmony is the result. So there's a mess. You can establish from that mess, you know, you can establish order, and that's mainly what needs to happen in no matter what's going on in life. Order is a law of the universe. Everything is in order. So when there's a lot of mess that is affecting you, I'm not talking about the mess you love to be in, right? So that's totally cool, because when you love it, then it's not unhealthy for you. So I'm challenging you to try things out and experiencing it. What would happen, be in a messy place, what would happen in a very orderly place. But the mess itself is not the problem, right? So it's how you feel towards it, and what's causing within you when you are in a messy place or in a very clean and orderly place. So that's very subjective. That is determined to yourself. If we don't start on ourselves, we have no ability to make some changes to our environment. And the changes are not coming if you're draining yourself with every day with something you are not in charge of, you are feeling victimized about, you're feeling, helpless on it. There's nothing won on that, right? So you want to also recognize those places where you feel no matter what you do, it's draining the heck out of you, so to speak, right? It drains the life force out of you. It's not where you want to be for long. So I am helping definitely with that in my new program, which is coming along. We are quite there, almost there, right? It's almost there that you can sign up for it. But anyway, so what I'm saying is you want to clear the chatter to bring back order, and that's an internal, in your mind, to find in your mind the mess. And then we make it much easier than I have been trained with all the programs I took, right? So we make it a little bit easier now because there's only one law in the whole universe. You may have learned or heard about. The one law can be described as love. Means the law, there's no opposites to it, right? So it's like there's no, opposing parts that can be described for peace would be the one love, right? So however you want to describe that, but then we learn how to bring that in, because of that is the fastest to bring order to first yourself. Well, this is like in the airplane, right? You need to take the mask, the air mask on first in order to create that overflow, in order to be able to be the beacon of light that nobody can bend or throw or, mold to their likes. And it's important that you stand your ground. It's important that you stay where you are, that you are knowing what you're here for, and that you can go for that, and finding your support for that. And that requires you are accepting reality and accepting that you may have never told anyone really what you want, because it has been always with consequences that might have been not healthy for you, and therefore you coped your whole life through situations just to drive by, just to survive. That's not living, that's surviving. We want to live, right? So that's what I'm helping in the program. I make it as simple as possible. The only thing what we have to come in again and again is practicing it from different angles, to shine light on from different angles, and then to come together and practice this together. You will need a practice where you can, untrash the thoughts, they are not healthy. You will need a practice that energizes you, brings life force back, brings flow back. They both need to come together, transforming each other. And you need methods, like a list of tools, like a table of tools to take from that. In any situation you feel you are empowered, you have at least one tool. So all the tools are out. I'm really excited about. You will find your tools. There's so many good stuff out, so many great products and services and so on. You can pick and choose, but you need to know when to use them and in which layer they are really great, and what you actually have for way more bigger power to bring that all into fruition for you. So I hope that you have a good understanding how to get changes more long-lasting, and you understand that will take its time. You cannot make to everything right away the changes you want to see. but you have the most powerful source within yourself. You always can start within yourself. All the power is within yourself. And accepting that this is a process is of very much importance. So my program, the first, like a mapping program, so to speak, is not very extremely long, because a lot of people, they would just know what needs to be done, know the parts, the parts to it, and then they go for testing it out and continuing working on it. It's a continuous doing, but I tell you, it's all worth it. It's all worth it. So on a continuous basis, you get actually better and better. And you will see this, you can witness that. So if you are more like that, then you enjoy that program. Hang on. Sorry. So when you have that, then you can enjoy the program. But what's really then important is to practice, and practice in a not stressful way, as I have experienced most of the programs that I have been testing out myself. They're really like, oh my God, I need more time. So my program it's not a lot, but you have to learn a lot more. You already know the most stuff. We don't need to add more to your plate. What we want to is to say, okay, what's on your plate? And discovering more what's there, finding out what is not really needed on your plate, take that off and replace it with life. Replace it with what life brings to you, so your plate becomes a little bit less heavy and easier for you to handle. So, and that is more and longer, in my opinion, in my experience, because of transformation, has certain layers that needs to be addressed, and that needs to be implemented. And there are, as I said, there are physical practices, make it much faster than if you only use your mind's power. So that's what I'm going for. And hope to see you then tomorrow for our next talk. And you have a wonderful day. If you have any comments, please use the box below and write in the comments box below, or send an email. And I will hope to present the sign up page very soon. Okay, I hope maybe tomorrow. All right, see you soon. Bye-bye.